Let's shift the focus to cholesterol, specifically, why some people eating a plant-based diet still end up with high cholesterol levels. First, there's genetics. Some people are just genetically wired to have higher LDL cholesterol or ApoB levels, regardless of lifestyle. In those cases, medication might still be necessary to manage cardiovascular risk, and that's totally valid. Second, life stages can play a role. Take menopause, for example. When estrogen drops, LDL cholesterol tends to rise. This shift partly explains why heart disease risk increases in postmenopausal women. In some cases, hormone replacement therapy can help manage both estrogen and cholesterol levels, but that's a conversation to have with a doctor. And third, yes, it's possible to eat a plant-based diet and still consume a lot of saturated fat, especially if you're using a lot of coconut oil or eating ultra-processed vegan foods. Just because it's plant-based doesn't mean it's automatically good for your cholesterol. So what can you actually do to lower your ApoB without medications? One of the best approaches comes from something called the portfolio diet. It's a well-researched strategy built around 4 core components that, when combined, can reduce LDL cholesterol by around 30%, similar to a low-intensity statin. First, eat nuts, about 45 grams a day. They provide fiber and unsaturated fats, both of which help lower LDL cholesterol through different mechanisms. Second, aim for about 50 grams of plant-based protein daily. Think tofu, tempeh, lentils, chickpeas, peas, beans. Not only do these lower saturated fat intake, they boost fiber and plant sterols, all of which support better lipid profiles. Third, focus on viscous fiber, that sticky, gel-like fiber found in foods like oats, barley, apples, beans, and lentils. This type of fiber binds to bile in your gut, forcing your liver to pull more cholesterol from your blood to make new bile. The result? Lower circulating LDL levels. Want a simple hack? Add 10 grams of psyllium husk to your smoothie every day. It's one of the easiest ways to bump up viscous fiber and see a real impact on your lipid markers. Fourth, plant sterols, about 2 grams a day. These compounds help block cholesterol absorption in your intestines. That said, not all plant sterols are created equal. There's some concern that certain forms may be absorbed into the bloodstream and potentially cause harm long-term. That's why it's better to opt for plant stanols, which offer similar benefits without the absorption issue. Some fortified margarines use plant stanols specifically, so check the label if you're adding them through products. Put it all together: nuts, plant protein, viscous fiber, and plant sterols, and you've got a proven food-first way to lower LDL and ApoB without reaching for a prescription bottle. Let's end with a question about sweeteners. Artificial and non-nutritive sweeteners, are they harmless or should we be worried? The honest answer? It depends on the context and the person. If someone's swapping sugar-sweetened sodas for diet sodas, and that helps them reduce overall sugar and calorie intake, that's likely a net positive, especially if it helps with weight loss or diabetes management. In that situation, these sweeteners can be useful tools. But that doesn't mean they're completely without concerns. Some evidence suggests certain sweeteners may negatively affect the gut microbiome, though the data is still developing and mostly comes from animal studies or small trials. The effects aren't fully understood, and not all sweeteners behave the same way. For instance, stevia, sucralose, aspartame, saccharin, erythritol, they all have different metabolic effects, and we shouldn't treat them as a single category. A more recent concern is cardiovascular risk. One study linked high blood levels of erythritol with an increased risk of blood clots and heart events. That study didn't prove causation, and it's not clear whether the sweetener itself is to blame, but it was enough to raise some eyebrows. So what's the takeaway? If you're using sweeteners occasionally in small amounts and they help you reduce added sugar, they're probably fine. But don't think of them as health foods. The goal shouldn't be to replace all sugar with artificial sweeteners and load up on diet products. Ideally, you want to retrain your taste buds to enjoy less sweetness overall. Drink more water. Use less sugar. Cook more whole foods. And when you do want something sweet, maybe just enjoy the real thing in a reasonable amount without trying to hack it with chemistry. As with most things in nutrition, the dose, the context, and the individual all matter. There are no magic ingredients. It's the big picture that counts.